Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to day number 2 of Starladder, the LAN finals. We're live here from Kiev, over $267,000 and rising. I think it's just about hit 270,000 actually after day number 1, Ben. But yeah, here we go. It's time for Cloud9 to run the gauntlet. They have to play 3 BO1s, potentially tiebreakers right after that, and then they might have to play in the winner's bracket if they do well today. So they could potentially play, I think it's up to like 9 games.
All in a day's work.
Well, if anyone can do it, hopefully they can. Tinker, 1-1 on the first day of opening play, and now with that said, we'll introduce the lineups here. Running through Cloud9, of course, we have Eternal Envy, Pineline Die, AUI 2000, Fada, and the stand-in Mag. Very experienced player on LAN, a veteran Dota 2 player, and Dota 1 for sure, but, well, will the language barrier, to whatever extent exists, prove to be an issue? We're going to find out soon. And with that, we just ran through the Tinker roster quickly as well. EGM, Koikfa, Sing Sing, Bulba, and Pycat. Draft underway. I like this from Cloud9. Just get that Legion commander off the board because Tinker, they just play it too often. You got to make them change something up.
They could have easily first picked it. And Team Tinker looks like they will ban TB but not Visage, and they will swoop it right up. Question is, do they pick Drow now or let it get banned in the second phase? I don't actually know if they're scared of Visage Drow, but most teams are.
Also, if you pick it first phase, it's a little bit different than like if you get it third, fourth, which was happening a lot in China for a while. They do go the Drow Visage, though.
This is, I mean, I think they will pick it first, and generally, I don't know. I guess they're more scared of the Brewmaster than Visage Drow, and they can maybe play very aggressively with a Wisp and try and pick them apart, maybe with lack of coordination from Mag. We also may see like a lot more drawing on the minimap, so that may give us a little bit more insight into what Cloud9 is going to do.
Or pings. We could see a lot more pings. Third ban now comes out for Cloud9. They removed the PA, a good Wisp partner. Maybe we see that Tiny or Sven banned out with the next one. Although generally, Tiny can get kited a bit by the Drow Ranger Visage combo until he gets quite a few items like the phased drums, maybe Yasha, or the treads, depending what route he goes. We'll see. Razor removed by Team Tinker. Actually ignored through the first phase. I feel like most other teams this tournament, we would not see a Death Prophet and a Razor entirely ignored, but Cloud9 and Tinker don't tend to favor those heroes the way that teams like EG do, for example.
They also just don't play it that well. It's, I think, most of the reason. They just don't play around that 5-man style, take a lot of towers, and it's more like a very guerrilla warfare, as people describe Cloud9, and Tinker just more gank-oriented, which Death Prophet is not profoundly good at.
The Bristleback now banned out by Cloud9. Something we saw Alliance use to great effect a week or so ago was their Wisp Bristleback duo. Incredibly durable and actually can dish out the damage. He did have a Magnus backing him up that game as well. Doubt we'll see that from Tinker with this Viper already picked, but, well, either way, the Wisp still offers a lot, and this does leave a Tiny in the pool. Cloud9 apparently not worried about giving away the Tiny Wisp.
Bristle's, I think, pretty scary, and it's a very good ban by Cloud9 because, firstly, you don't want a hero that can just stick on a Drow. You can just goo him up and just run at Drow Ranger. Makes the marksmanship aura useless, and on top of that, the physical damage from this Quill just destroy the Visage birds, too. And a ton of physical damage, just turn around. They don't actually have any stuns right now aside from Visage stuns. So
one hero they didn't ban is Centaur, and this was the go-to ban for like teams like Vici Gaming when they run the Wisp Tiny, or some sort of Wisp, or sorry, not the Wisp Tiny, the Drow Ranger Visage. They almost always ban Centaur because you have Stampede, and that deals with all the slows that the Drow Visage bring to bear, and you could just charge in, get on top of her, damage removed, and just try to take the fight from there.
Koikfa's Tinker was not terribly impressive in day 1 of Starladder. I'm not sure if Tinker will go back for it. Yeah. Tinker could pick it.
Oh, I thought you were saying
Tinker
is like hero.
No, Tinker's Centaur.
Okay, yeah. He went back for the Midas. Yeah, he didn't really get involved. That was, considering how much Koikfa usually does, at some points earlier this year, it's felt like he's been carrying his teams almost single-handedly, or certainly the majority of the burden has been on him. He was a bit underwhelming, but he was very confident. I walked by him as he got ready to go up on the stage for this match, and he said, "We're going to win." That was it. So
You have to be confident. If you don't, it messes with your mentality a lot.
they go for a Witch Doctor now. Good 5-man hero with the heal. We've seen a lot of good Witch Doctor play this tournament already, and I think he's finally getting the respects he deserves. Only one pick at the LAN finals, but he's been seeing a lot more play elsewhere in European online matches. And
It also might be somewhat of a deny pick, too. Witch Doctor is traditionally very good versus EO plus whatever partner. So,
do you think, what's your ideal partner for the Wisp now? There's like a Gyro out there, there's a Tiny,
just wait to pick it
Sven.
last. I don't think they have to pick it now. I would wait to see what Cloud9 is going to do. Mostly, this is usually what they run, though, just 5 range heroes with Visage and Drow and pick away at Tinker's formation and try and sneak in some towers and farm in the meantime. So I think they want to bring the fight to them early with Viper and Witch Doctor. Those are not your ideal late game heroes, although they can progress into the late game. You don't pick Wisp because you want to farm all day.
Yeah, you want to, well, maybe you do if you get like a Tiny.
Maybe you do, but not Tinker's.
They go differently. They go aggressive here with the Axe pick.
That's highly unusual and
very good tower diver, a nice blink initiator, can get on top of the Drow, has good physical resistance when he uses the Berserker's Call.
I think he's just going to get kited a lot, though. It's very difficult to catch a puck. He's versus a lot of range heroes in lane, so he doesn't have any easy lane matchups. He has a little bit of move speed from EO, but we might actually see the creep skipping axe, though, with the EO axe plus Witch Doctor and the double heal. So I actually expect an aggressive try from Team Tinker.
Yeah, I was thinking, why wouldn't you just go Centaur here? Because later on in the game, he certainly will offer more than the axe in terms of actually jumping the Drow, but the big thing X offers is that like level 1 to level 3 or so. If you want to creep skip, you've got a Witch Doctor heal, so you can really force the fight at the tower. And what did Cloud9 do about that? They don't have much D-push. They need levels on their Visage and Drow desperately early on. They'd love if Tinker don't go aggressive. Do they try and
Dodge.
Go for some unusual lanes here? Go aggressive with like the Drow Visage or something? What do you think?
They just 5-man their own jungle at the start because EO doesn't really offer that much to Axe, and they have a ton of range heroes, so they can kite Axe with Grave Chill plus Venge Stun and just pure right clicks from Drow Ranger. Axe isn't that strong at level 1, and maybe like if he goes boots, he won't have any armor from Radiant Protection, or actually technically he can, but most likely he won't, and he won't have a Stout Shield either, so it's not going to be terrible easy for them to creep skip.
Yeah, and if they feel like they can't take the tri-lane, I guess the other option is to just put the puck there, maybe with the Venge, run the Drow Visage off lane, and just basically say, you know what, our puck might get screwed. Maybe our Venge even just roams mid and gives up on the tri-lane. And at the end of the day, Tinker supports need their levels. Certainly this Wisp does, so they are giving up something to go aggressive in their own right. Ban now on the Tidehunter from Tinker. They want to be able to tower dive without getting punished for it, and Cloud9 do need that like beefy frontliner, someone to soak up damage while the Drow Visage deal it out, and basically just a barrier between the rest of Tinker and the Drow.
I know Cloud9 doesn't usually pick it, but I think that Timber would have worked really well for them too. It just destroys Axe. Also really good versus EO. Viper also doesn't have any disables too, and can cut through his corrosive skin. It is a melee hero, but at the same time they need some sort of offensive potential and some frontline so they don't bum rush Drow.
Other main frontliners, there's a Centaur out there. Does need a Blink Dagger, of course, and might struggle a bit more in the lanes early on against, say, like a Viper, if that's the 1v1 matchup. And as you can see here, Cloud9 are very successful when they run this combo. The Drow, the Visage, that's the two main ones, but when you throw in the Venge, it improves their win rate from like 60% all the way up to 78%, and Tinker will go Centaur. So they now have a very fearsome face-rushing lineup in the mid-game. Wisp for mobility and relocate, Axe and Centaur to jump in with the Blink Daggers, Viper, who's pretty durable and could take a pounding from these Cloud9 heroes. If they can shut this Drow Visage down early, they can keep them down, it would seem, with these picks.
Yeah, you were calling Centaur a long time ago, and Cloud9 had to have seen it coming. Maybe they just don't care about the Centaur, but Stampede looks to be like a huge issue for them to deal with. And on top of that, just Centaur's raw beefiness. Maybe
they saw Koik for Centaur yesterday, just said it wasn't really that good. Like, give him Centaur, he's not going to impress. But I feel like that was an off game for Koikfa.
It's also just a low skill cap hero. Like, even if you are bad with Centaur, your team calls for Stampede, and that's that.
And there wasn't, to be fair, it's not like he could have really won that game solo. At the point where he came online, he needed his team's help. And Cloud9 go not for a frontliner, but for a 5th ranged hero. Their DPS will be absolutely absurd, but can they get through the laning stage intact? That's going to be the question. Tinker looking to take the fight towards them and looking to snowball that with the double blinks, the early level 6 on IO, if all goes well. Cloud9 looking to hopefully avoid aggression. It is another survivable hero, Ben, and this gives them at least 2. The win range of the puck, difficult to track down, but it's more this Drow Visage that you worry about for Cloud9.
Yeah, it's also decent versus Wisp. You can kind of just win-run away. You want a hero with high mobility so that you can elude these Wisp relocate ganks. But at the same time, if Centaur or Axe gets a Blink Dagger, they're just food.
All right. Well, it's going to be a mag puck. So it's actually, looking at the draft, it's a very important Rolius to play. Like, sometimes you have multiple initiators, but what do you have this game? Avenge, who's like unlikely to get too many levels. Wind Ranger, you can't really count on Shackle Shot. To me, it looks like Mag's got to make a lot of plays.
Yeah, I think he's come to win this role, though. It's a fighter. It's not really like a huge split pusher. And if they don't have blinks, they can't really catch him out. So I think he's okay.
And with that said, our players get into the game. We have a quick pause. Who do you like better? Favorites after looking at this draft?
Well, I think it's almost always a mistake giving C9 Visage and Drow. I think you just straight ban Visage and TB and just don't let them get those. Yeah, they're good with other stuff, and like, yes, Fada's Panda is really good, but at the same time, their Visage Drow is just very fearsome. They practice it a lot. It's very difficult to deal with. The laning phase is pretty strong too, so I would slightly favor C9, even with Mag as a stand-in.
Okay. I want to believe in Tinker here, because I think on paper, their draft is the solution to a Drow Visage. Aggressive, even from the laning stage with the Axe. Heroes that can get in close to the Drow in the mid-game, thanks to the Centaur, they have that. And heroes that can 5-man fairly effectively. They have a Viper who could build your early mech, Witch Doctor who can provide the heal to sustain push. So on paper, I like Tinker's draft better. I do worry a little bit, having not really seen them run Axe at all, how practiced they are with this. And if anyone knows how to dodge lanes they don't want to fight, it's got to be Cloud9. They do it. They do it like just as a matter of course. It's very punctual.
I think Cloud9
perfunctory for them is the word I'm looking for.
Cloud9 should probably aggro try, I think, or just put Drow in the off lane.
And they are Radiant too, so they can get away with that a bit easier.
Yeah, and then just completely avoid the Axe plus Wisp plus Witch Doctor with a Drow Ranger. They leave Windrunner down there if they want to. Ideally Puck, because Puck can just run around circles in the tower and they can't really catch them. So I think it's ideal for Mag to be up against this try. But at the same time, you don't know what Tinker's going to do. They might expect Cloud9 to try lane and then put Axe on top and then just wrap around with the tower. You have no idea.
We have a little, was this a keyboard swapper? No, he's just getting his wrist rest on. Not sure what the pause is for. It's Mag who disconnected. But he's back in the game. Hand warmers.
Hot hands, hand warmers.
They need to be sponsoring Cloud9, man.
It's
Look at all this free promotion they're getting.
Cleverly placed towards the camera, too, so you can read exactly what's on it. It's a 10-pack.
Eternal Envy is telling you something.
It's a 10-pack. He expects to play a lot of games.
Senpai, please, notice me. It's the other way around, though. Normally, Eternal Envy is the senpai. Here we go. Unpause. We're back into the game. It's our opening match of day number 2. Starladder Season 10. We'll look at our stats one more time. As you can see, Tinker, they die less. They get more kills, relatively speaking. They did better in the group stage overall, but Cloud9 have had the much more fearsome LAN results. Tinker still looking to prove themselves as a 5-man unit. And with that, we're officially underway. On the Radiant side, Cloud9, Fada will be playing your Wind Ranger. Pylai Dai taking up the Vengeful Spirit. AUI 2000, the Visage. Mag standing in formerly of Team Empire. He's been replaced by Yoki, but has been a very solid veteran for a long time in the CIS Dota scene on the puck. That leaves Eternal Envy himself on that Drow Ranger. On the side of Tinker, Koikfa playing the Centaur, looking to redeem himself after yesterday's underwhelming performance. EGM, the IO, Sing Sing playing the Viper. That puts Pycat into the aggressive tri-lane, most likely, at least, on the Axe, and it leaves Boba as your Witch Doctor. They drop down a Sentry Ward, blocking off the camp. I don't think AUI or the rest of Cloud9 got here in time to see this. There was also an Observer Ward, and I believe if they drop their Sentry right, they could get a double D Ward. Or
they don't have
very
any sentries, though.
Oh, yeah. Do they have money for it? They're close to it on Visage.
Yeah,
actually, they have money on Pylai Dai. Yeah. Haven't bought it yet, though. So they are going aggressive, Ben. They block off the pole camp early. Even if Cloud9 buy sentries, they'll be a bit delayed. But Cloud9 are already rotating towards top with the Vengeful Spirit. Mag's going to go there as well. Maybe just securing the rune. Are they going to try to run dual lanes? Looks like they might.
I think
Pylai Dai is going back
he's a floater, seeing what Tinker's up to. And
Tinker
Axe,
back down. They're not going to go aggressive. They go into the jungle.
I think they think that C9 is switching lanes, though. It's just a very difficult position for Tinker. They want to be matched up versus their tri-lane and matched up versus Drow, but they got scattered out on bottom, and they know that Tinker was trying to aggressively take over their jungle, and it looks like they will see Mag on top right now. Let's see where they head.
They did see one support walking around in this area.
Oh, wow. They're just heading off to the jungle.
They're just going to jungle.
Okay.
All right, so they completely abandon the off lane against the Drow Visage. Most of the time when you give Eternal Envy free farm on his Drow and AUI 2000 free levels early on his Visage, it ends poorly. But clearly Tinker, they know Cloud9 very well, so they must have some plan in mind to be doing this. Let's see what that plan is. For now it seems to be, let's punish Mag. They rotate around with the Wisp, but he's already orb back. And they can't really do anything to this puck. Not at this point.
Let's right-click with good old Witch Doctor. And let's see if they're able to get a D ward off. It looks like the chicken did come along, but Visage actually forgot the sentries on chicken, so I don't know if they'll be able... I don't think that'll matter. They still should be able to get a 2-minute spawn.
Man, Pycat, what a spin lord. He is really getting some solid results there. And he's nearly cleared out a double stack already early on. That's a good start for him in the jungle. At the same time, still no D-ward from Cloud9. Sentries are now inbound. Pyladi's purchased them. But by the time he D-wards this Ben, it'll be 3 spawns already blocked, and only 1 more spawn that could have been blocked, I believe.
And you don't even know if they're going to be able to D-ward it.
Yeah. But maybe they at least get this obs. They are in range. Let's see if AUI checks the right spot. He should eventually. But it's going to be after 2 minutes.
But C9 doing a great job of controlling runes. They will get the DD on bottom and the bounty rune on top lane. And yeah, just leaving the Drow alone. Screw contesting it.
Hey, Pykat's jungling quickly. He's already level 3.5 at 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's out of regen, though.
Well, EGM's here to try and tank the creeps a bit, but that means Pykat's not spinning. So this is very slow work in the jungle. And EGM can't take too much more damage. Now it goes back to Pycat. Hits level 4 at 2.5 minutes. I have to say, Ben, this is the fastest Axe jungle I've ever seen.
Yeah, they've been stacking a lot of camps, and he's got a ton of Satyr spawns. That's pretty lucky, if I may say so myself.
This is really cool.
He's really lucky, though.
Yeah, he's been getting the right spawns. He's also been getting pretty lucky with his spins.
GG pseudo random generator. Well, Pyladi trying to follow up after a shackle shot, missed by Fata, and all in all, passive early game, working out in Cloud9's favor, I'd say. EO only level 2.5 at this point. Once
they're not leaving much help here for Mag in the top lane. He will phase shift, but he doesn't have mana for an orb. They didn't give him an obs ward early, and he'll get run down with auto text phase shift. Cooling down, not going to commit for the first blood. It's Pyladi who also might be jumped on. Sing Sing's here, and this looks to be your first blood. He's called, he's in trouble. The Wind Ranger won't be able to get a return kill in time, and first blood goes the way of Pycat, hits level 4.5, and now they chase onto Fata, who's forced to use a wind run. Will escape. Eternal Envy is getting a free safe lane, and they have now begun to pull for the Visage. Hits level 2. The Sentry Ward, I'm not sure if it actually killed it or if it just dissipated, but either way it's gone. Still, I think if you're going to give away free farm to a Drow, this is about as fast of a start as you can hope for in a jungler trade.
Yeah, this is really impressive by Pycat. He will have like a maybe 8-minute Blink Dagger, probably at this rate, if EGM keeps him up and running with the EO and doesn't force Pycat to go back and heal. And they're just stacking constantly and kind of beating C9 out at their own stacking game.
Yeah, that's always impressive. If you can out-farm and just not even greed, but just out-efficient C9, then you're doing something pretty much at the pinnacle of your profession. And we'll be an invis room bottom. Pyladi gonna hold that one out for Fata. Hits level 5. He's gone now for the boot, so still nothing too interesting. I'm curious what his Wind Ranger build will be. Probably building most of their utility, as they've got a Blink Dagger here on the off lane, but you never know with Cloud9. Sometimes they like to do something a little bit different.
And probably Force Mech is a good build for him. Pycat spinning it up.
He's going to hit level 5 off of the stack. Getting close to 6 probably. Well, if he can finish it, EGM certainly can't. He tries with the orbs. Tether's back. He has a single tango for Pycat. They need this Tranquil Boot regen to cool down and begin kicking in. Thinking about going back maybe? No, just trying to aggro the creeps while Pycat gets that tasty plus 16 HP a second.
And stacking yet another time. No Satyr for them, luckily.
They also have a blink on Koikfa. Looks like he's rushing it at like 6.5, 7 minutes. between that and your Axe hitting level 6, you gotta imagine Tinker are gonna start getting aggressive.
Yeah, and C9, what do they really have to deal with it? We talked about Mag having a very big role in this game. He's only level 3.5, not due to any fault of his own. These two supports have, or actually mostly just a Witch Doctor, have been trying to force him out very, very early.
And how do you keep heroes off of the Drow in the mid game? If she doesn't have enough mobility items, you have a defensive swap that won't be coming for a long time because Pylai dies level 1 at 5.5 minutes. And you don't have a hero like Tidehunter or maybe a Centaur can stampede her way to safety.
Coil's still decent at it.
That's true.
GG Shackles, GG Squaps.
he's level 1, man. This is going to be a while. But yeah, a timely Shackle could turn things. The Coil probably your main reliable way. But you coil and then that's down for a solid minute and change. And during that time, Tinker may just go for another jump. The Blink Dagger is ready for Koikva. He'll snap it up from the side shop right now. And they look to go in a Mag. Could be your second kill of the game for Tinker. They'll try to bait out the phase shift here. It doesn't go, and then they get the stomp, but it's too late. Just at like a quarter of a second slow, Koikva was on the jump in. Couldn't get in range in time, and well, nice dodge there by Mag. He's gotten no support at all. No ward in the off lane. They even sentry'd thinking he would have one, but he didn't. And he still managed to limit the deaths to 0.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Still, the Centaur Blink is online, and that is extremely scary. He has TP to the bottom lane, looking for a kill on Oh Owie. Not level 6 yet.
Oh, AUI. This is not good. Stampede's online. He's starting to back off a little bit. It's still nighttime, and they don't have a lane ward. Something you generally want against the Centaur.
They do have a TP scroll on Pylai, but I don't think it's going to save him.
Oh, AUI. Now they've surrounded him. The Stomp's there. Double-edged fault. They should just be sacking their Visage, and they will do so. No TPs. Their counter gank just isn't online yet. Mag doesn't have level 6. These heroes are pretty beefy. But top lane, again, they go on to Mag. And this time the cast keeps on bouncing to him. Can he jaunt out in time? He barely does. But they try to run him down with auto attacks. Another phase shift in 1 second. Too late. Tinker make it 3-0. They haven't found that Drow yet, but they are picking apart at the edges of this Cloud9 lineup, punishing everyone else supporting the hero.
Cloud9 does have good eyes in the mid lane, but they're not focusing on Fada at all. They have Viper there who can just bully him out of lane and force a wind run just from auto attacks. And looks like Pylai might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I feel like the Wind Ranger in this draft it's more like a Bishop or a Rook, right? Like the Drow Ranger and the Visage are your King and Queen, if this is chess. Those are the ones you really need to protect. And for now, the Wind Ranger is being ignored. Pylai going to back off here. There will be a potential skirmish for the 8-minute rune, and they go for a Shackle. They find Sing Sing. Cloud9, no mercy on their old teammate. EE will get the last hit there. 1,000 gold now in his inventory. Has the triple in Wraith Band and the power treads for some early stats. Sing Sing is punished.
Yeah, very nice kill for them, and Sing Sing didn't even spend his gold. Could have bought a buckler and not lost any gold. On the flip side, Axe almost has his Blink Dagger, just about 180 gold until that. And let's check EGM's level. He is level 6. They're probably setting up for a relocate gank right now on the bottom lane. Maybe once Pycat gets a...
There are familiars here, though.
Yeah, I mean, still, they're just going to get spun to death. All this physical damage. That's why they banned out the Bristle, and Axe is, I guess, supposedly a decent counter.
Yeah, maybe they just ignore the Axe, go for all the other heroes.
Well, they can. He's going to Blink Call on top of them, or just Invis and walk up to them.
Oh, for the familiars?
Yeah, the familiars.
Well, let's see if AUI hides them until after the jump. They also have the Drow Aura to proc if they want it. So even though she's not in this bottom lane, these familiars will be hitting for like 100+ damage in auto attack. If they don't get the spins on top of them.
Still, they have Stampede, and they have Wisp to relocate.
But they're probably using that to jump in.
They don't have to. They just... They can catch him out very, very easily on bottom lane. It's going to be like a 2-on-4 really, really quickly.
Puck, no teleport scroll, still no level 6 on Mag. Cloud9 won just a moment longer, but their fate, well, it hangs in the balance in this bottom lane. Doesn't look too promising.
Drow hits really hard right now, though. Over 150 damage.
Dude, this is so OP. She's already got a Mask Commandus. That's broken. Eternal Envy cheating.
Okay, let's see if
Pycat jump
can make something happen here. They did scout him out. They did see the Invis rune, and looks like everyone is scared on the bottom lane. Fada actually smokes up, trying to counter gank this. They're actually in a pretty good position to do so.
Meanwhile, Koikva's lumbering around near the top lane. He's going to work on his own pull. Maybe they try and jump on Mag here. Fada does make that rotation bottom, as you mentioned. But if they find anyone, oh, it's just going to be a Witch Doctor. Shackle Shot won't latch on Bulba. He's already popped his heal. They get off the wave of terror. Actually, he was out of range. So Bulba gets to Cask. It bounces to UI, and now the relocate gang comes. They're out real far. Centaur jumping in. Straight onto Fata they go. Doesn't double edge just yet. Need to finish him off. They will do so. Now AUI TPing out for the tree line. Call cooling down in 10 seconds. That's going to take too long. So in the end, a 1-for-1 exchange. Glyph was used by the Radiant, as Sing Sing is starting to work on this tier 1 mid.
All this physical damage is just going to melt Wisp. They can just focus him down with the familiars as well as the Soul Assumption, and he just flopped. They need a little bit more survivability for him. They even tried to... Or Pylite die. Caught out by Pycat with the Berserker's Call. He's pretty tanky. Gets that kill easily. Now the coil rotation for Mag. Koikfa and Pycat low in the tree line. Can they TP out? Are they going to try for it? They turn onto Mag. They can't get the kill. The Familiars turning this one again. 4-5 the score. That aura, underestimating the Drow aura right there.
Yeah, just activated it. He didn't use it for the initial dive. Eternal Envy very patient under pressure. And I think that was a slightly better win. One of the kills maybe not showing up there. Or it was counting one of the kills from the previous fight.
So much
Makes
damage
it a 2 for 2 overall, though.
From those birds. I think they even do more right-click damage than the heroes at this point.
And EGM might die here in the bottom lane. He gets hit by the... Oh, Jesus. That damage. This Tinker game plan, I wouldn't say fully falling apart, but they're expected to be having just pickoffs with no trades at this point, and they're not getting them, Ben.
Where is Sing Sing's farm, too? Sing Sing actually is not that farm for being a Viper in the mid lane. He did die once, but he still has less CS than Fada, who's been parked bottom for quite some time.
Say goodbye to your tower as well if you don't jump in right now. Pycat looks for the call. He only gets Eternal Envy, and they immediately turn on with the stun, but the Death Ward's thrown out. AUI taking a lot of damage from that. Pycat will fall, but in exchange they get AUI, and they may get more here. Mag dropping low, trying to retreat out with a phase shift. A couple more orbs would finish him off. It's probably 3 heroes dead. Into the trees he goes, he orbs, he phase shifts, he actually makes it out. Nice jaunt from him, but he's going to TP out Bulba. They look for the turn on him. The Familiar comes in from Pylite Die. Cloud9 with the scrappy Dota managing to get what looks like unobtainable trades.
Wow.
As Pylite Die will finally go down.
Man, nice micro by Visage.
3 for 2, but that could have been so much worse for them.
Yeah, it was still pretty good. I mean, that was a nice stun. Stun both of them, but the Wisp balls caught him out.
And, well, Cloud9, they do lose their Drow. That's the one piece of bad news. At the same time, your Visage, who went for an early medallion, closes in on a point booster. Drow Ranger, or your Wind Ranger, what's she working on? Nothing picked up really of note yet. Still just the Phase Boots and Old Talisman. It's got to be either that Force Staff to deal with the Centaur axe jumps or maybe a mech. But
Still,
doesn't have it yet.
I mean, they don't really have the mitigation to deal with the Drow aura at this point. With Agi Treads, she's sitting about, what, like 120 agility, and that's almost 50 damage for the Familiars. They hit every attack is like 0.4 seconds, too. That is just insane amounts of damage, like 130 a second, times 2. So it's hard to calculate the math for those on the fly if you're Team Tinker, but we've seen this over and over again from Cloud9.
And you mentioned the spins, and it is definitely a good way to deal with Familiars, but they're just... AUI's outmaneuvering the axe.
Yeah, he's microing very, very well on those Visage Familiars.
And Koikfa's invis now, walking up the ramp. They got eyes on Fada. He's just spent pretty much all his gold. And again, he's just kind of an orbital piece. It's not the most essential hero to bring down, but they need these kills.
Another draw or a pop to secure that bottom lane tower for the Familiars.
And they still continue to look for openings here. AUI and Fada into the tree line. And they're doing that good old Cloud9 thing, where you just hide and you wait. And now Koikfa's blocked at AUI. He's going to spring the trap at him. They relocate. Surprise! Fada trying to TP out, perhaps. No, he's just going to win run. Cask will find him. They have a coil, though. They bring in the reinforcements. Eternal Envy arrives. Mag, too. He caught out multiple heroes. They will relocate back, but they lose their Centaur. And perhaps they lose more. Pycat just melting to the right-click damage. He drops as well. Cloud9. Mag is a well-oiled part of this machine at this point. He was ready to come in, hit a great coil, and, well, so much for any language barrier issues. He's on point with this team here.
And you saw how quickly Axe melted. He can't even get in range for a blink call. And, I mean, you have the minus armor from the Venge, you have the Vengeance aura from her. It's just too much physical damage. They really need a mech from Sing Sing, and instead he's going for the point booster build. I don't actually know who's going for the mech if they are. Or Crimson Guard actually would be okay for them, I suppose. Extra armor, extra damage block.
But they need some sort of damage mitigation and way to just get, like, take the pounding and still getting close. And they're going to smoke again on Pycat. He walks towards this top rune, not quite spotted out by Mag. And will make his way safely. No, not going up the ramp. Thinking about it. Now going up the ramp. Might jump Mag here. He's close to getting spotted out. Pycat already up on the high ground. The smoke still isn't broken, but now Mag gets eyes on Koikfa. He turns like he wants to go on this. There is a single familiar in the neighborhood. Fada's going to the bottom room. They're just two ships crossing paths in the night. They're just narrowly missing each other.
See an early Vit booster coming out from Visage too, just wanting to survive the burst, which is really all he needs to do. And Team Tinker, they first picked the Viper, and it hasn't really worked well into their lineup. He's like not tanky enough because Corrosive Skin's only versus Magic, and I don't know, it just doesn't really seem to fit into their lineup. I thought he was going to be their mech carrier, be their front line in assistance with Centaur and Axe, but I must say Cloud9's teamwork is actually much better than Tinker's.
I feel like Tinker doesn't have enough of a sense of urgency right now. They've tried to go for a few ganks, but it's been with like 2-3 heroes, and every time Cloud9 breeds 4 or 5. And they just have more heroes at the point of the attack. The Visage Familiars do way too much damage, and they just keep on giving up, at best, even trades when they need to be taking clear wins. Like, how much of a chance do you give Tinker if this goes another 15, 20, 30 minutes?
Really badly, because they don't have that great push or anti-push. They have good gank and killing potential.
Oh, Mag. He coiled and then paused.
Not a big deal.
The Dire did see this. They've got an Observer Ward top, so they know coil's down. But what can they do about it?
It's not even that big of a cooldown for them. They just have to kind of keep Drow alive and keep the familiars alive. And, I mean, at this point, Tinker has to come up with probably 2 like really big fights to get back in this game. It's on that point of just getting slowly out of control. And they haven't been able to take down any towers. They haven't really been able to kill Drow Ranger more than one time. Her farm is ridiculously good. They've stacked the Ancients a lot and taken them out. And at the same time, they have defensive capabilities online very soon for the Drow Ranger. Vengeful Spirit is level 6. Puck will have his Blink Dagger fairly soon, and Wind Ranger will have her Force Staff too. So I don't really think Drow's that easy to kill anymore.
Yeah, Sing Sing looking for vengeance on his old team, but so far coming up a bit short. His Ags will be done soon, and it will at least help him tank.
What does his Ags do, though? I mean, there's a lot of different damage sources that you can't really get rid of, too. Drow already has a ton of attack speed anyways. She's sitting at, like, 150 agility, so that's already completely nullifies Viper Strike's attack slow. And he can't really run up in front, too, because he has no armor. He has 6 armor.
Yeah, it's more like they get the Ags, and you've been letting Sing Sing just sit mid and farm with that. So presumably, if you're Tinker, you say, okay, now we've got our first item on Sing Sing. We already have our core items on the other heroes.
He's going to melt.
It's time to go.
Really quickly.
Back into the game. We unpause. Let's see if Tinker try to force the issue, knowing that coil was deployed. Well, if they were watching top, they know anyway. It seems Cloud9 are unshaken by the fact that this is down. They continue to push in this lane. The tier 1 will be quickly dropping here, and Tinker, on the flip side, are much slower to take structures. As you see Fada just laying into the tower, he's got plus 52 damage from that Precision R. It melts. He gets the last hit. Force Staff pretty much done at this point. And they deward the top ward as well. Then another pause for Mag. Continues to have issues. Tinker just not getting objectives. They still don't have a tower.
Well, they can't push. What are they going to push with? No mech. Witch Doctor Sustain is about all they have, I guess, with Wisp too, but they don't really have that much physical damage. They're killers. Their lineup is a killing lineup, not a pushing lineup or a farming lineup.
But they're playing it like one, and that's where the
well,
problem
they tried to,
lie.
and then they just got obliterated on the bottom lane. Now they're really discouraged, and they know that if they lose like one big fight, C9 is just going to trounce them. So they don't want to take that risk at this point, but it's better now than later. They just have to win through superior fighting skills, superior maneuvers, kiting, using fog, sustain with Wisp and Witch Doctor, and theoretically the mech from the Viper.
Well, that would explain the misused Dream Coil. Apparently there's just quick cast on that can't be turned off. Not sure if someone like installed a special config file on that computer or what the case may be. But we'll see if they can sort it out. Admin's there trying to help him. It's a bit frustrating for Mag. It's already enough to adjust to being a stand-in fairly last minute like this, but this game looks good for Cloud9, and considering they've got 3 games today, momentum could play more of a role for them. So you beat Tinker here to start, now they're 1-2. You're in decent shape. You still have to play Alliance. EG will be the tough one, but Alliance looks a bit bruised right now, and honestly, the way Cloud9's playing, I feel like I would favor them going into that match.
Oh, C9 versus Alliance, definitely C9.
So then the big question is, can Cloud9 beat EG? Assuming they take care of Tinker here. By no means is the game over. It's more just that they weathered the storm, and now they get to like where their real comfort zone lies. Mid-game, with a really good split pushing lineup, with a lineup that can out-late game you, and map control advantage.
Well, they just had a big trade-off. It was Axe getting a lot of farm and levels, and Dro getting a lot of farm and levels, and she gets, what, Treads and 3 Wraith Bands by the time that Axe has his Tranquil and Blink Dagger, and the trade-off just wasn't there. What have they actually done with Axe's Blink Dagger? Maybe get like 1 or 2 kills, but Drow Ranger has taken 2 towers, they've gotten multiple kills, they farmed Ancients, and have just accumulated a mass amount of wealth, whereas Tinker just kind of stalling, not really fighting, not really able to push, not really able to farm.
Well, Eternal Envy wasn't ready. He was trying to help sort out Mag's computer issues. He is putting on his headphones now. We should be getting back underway soon. And we'll see if Cloud9 can continue pushing their advantage here. Tinker are grouping up mid like they want to take a tier 1, but they just take buildings slowly. They have to do it the old-fashioned way with right clicks. Their only real push is that Nether Toxin, which does half damage to buildings. But it doesn't really help you until the tower's already low. Certainly not going to match a Drow Visage in power. And in the meantime, it's Eternal Envy who looks to deep push. He goes for some last hits mid lane. Tinker, seeing that Drow, want to try and jump it, but there's familiars backing her up. And soon there will be heroes too. Cloud9 bringing 4 heroes to the mid lane. And Tinker retreating. They're not going to try to force a fight. Mag stays top, closes in on his Blink Dagger.
They can't keep letting this go on. If they lose a mid tower, then they lose Roshan, and then Drow is going to be invincible, and then they can't win a team fight there.
Oh, they may lose Mag, though. Caught out by the Blink Stomp. Couldn't phase shift in time. Double Edge comes through his Ola Orb. He jaunts. He silences. He escapes to the tree line. He's got a teleport scroll ready. He's going to use it now. Orbs hitting him once, twice. Not enough. They lost Sing Sing mid in the meantime. Able to TP out. Mag creates space while the rest of Cloud9 take advantage of it. That's basically the Bone 7 role. And he's doing it quite well so far. They now go into Bulba. Walked in by himself. Got caught by a Shackle swap. Another pickoff. Cloud9 take 2. Take a tower as well. Don't think it's all reflected in the fight recap there, but
this is just getting more and more ugly. Tinker can't fight with their fighter lineup, and at this point, I don't really know how they stop the hemorrhaging.
And it seems like Cloud9 smell blood in the water. Eternal Envy goes for the completed Sanji Yasha, the best fight right now item. Not trying to take it more late game, although he certainly can, and just wants to push their advantage with this. And at this point, he's pretty tanky, Ben. 1460 HP when he's in on Strength Treads, plus he's got 17 armor, and they have the defensive swap online now. Remember, Pile Die was level 1 at 5 minutes, but he's really bounced back, and it ain't so easy to bring Eternal Envy down at this point, even if you jump him. And that's a big if.
I think the biggest part is mitigating the damage coming out from Cloud9. And they don't really have that great team fight control. No huge AoE stuns. All of them are pretty small AoE with Axe and Centaur. And as we saw at the bottom T1 fight, Cloud9 is excellent at positioning themselves. And if you get a Blink Call or Blink Stop, it's probably only going to hit 1 or 2. They only got the Drow Ranger on bottom lane. It's only going to get progressively more difficult as Vengeful Spirit levels up and as more and more Force Staves get built. So, I mean, Tinker, if they keep farming, they're just losing out heavily in terms of the game progression.
Finally, that Blink for Mag is ready. It's a pretty late Blink for him by normal standards, but considering how much space he's created and just the amount of pressure he's been under, the keyboard issues and all that, he's doing well, and they will smoke now. And they'll look to maybe take a fight top lane. They're just showing their Wind Ranger, who's got a Force Step and a Point Booster, building towards the Aghanim Scepter, I assume maybe an Eye of Scotty. That Wind Ranger Axe has been upgraded multiple times by recent patches, buffed I should say. And now they find the opening. Blink and silence for Mag. Going on to Bulba. Quakefa's here, will stampede immediately. They coil though, they catch out Bulba, he ain't retreating. Quakefa comes back in, the orb's there, but a nice defensive swap from Pile Die keeps another alive. Call connects on the familiars, that will bring them down as they're resummoned for AUI. Well, doesn't need it anyway, still getting 3 kills and chasing for more. Eternal Envy trying to find those last 2 lingering heroes. And if there ever was momentum for Tinker this game, it is completely erased from the map. A complete win, a 3-0, a 2,300 gold swing, and that's before you factor in the tower they're about to lose in the top lane. Maybe the aggressive wards Cloud9 will drop down. Do they have any in their inventories? Yeah, someone Pile Die. Map control will thoroughly be in their court after this.
You just have to respect the Visage Drow against Cloud9. And I don't think there's really that much more to it. Maybe draft a better mid hero for Sing Sing, because to be honest, he's had almost no impact in this game.
Yeah, and Viper doesn't really feel like a Sing Sing hero. Well, they'll relocate top, trying to go Mag, but he's already jumped out into the tree line. The call is way short from Pycat, and Mag again, he's able to escape. This guy is turning into a bit of a Houdini. Though to be fair, Tinker don't really have much lockdown for a puck. And it's getting punished now. Cloud9 keeping everyone alive, taking 3 kills, taking 2 towers top. And now grouping up. They've got the Rod of Atos on AUI 2000. He's tanking up. And at this point, the only hero that can die to that instant initiation in a few seconds is Pylai Dai. The rest of these heroes are too mobile or too durable.
It doesn't really matter if you kill Pylai Dai too.
Yeah.
And they have enough burst, yeah, to kill probably 1 or 2 heroes, but after that, C9's sustained damage output is just incredibly high. And if they get Roshan, it's very close to the end.
Boba is invis, but he got spotted out here. He gets swapped back into a Sentry Ward. Pylai Dai was ready for this thanks to his own ops, and they don't quite get the kill. They chase him to the left. Boba able to retreat out. No more detection for him. They have a wave of terror. I don't think it's quite enough to kill him. Boba, will he TP? He will. He'll risk it. No eyes on him. He'll make it out. Still, though, that's the map control. Boba desperately trying to get out on the map to maybe drop some wards, go for a relocate gank, and he just can't do it. As Mag chases out Pycat, is he going to jump on this? He can't have a blink because he's currently battle hungered. But won't matter. The axe backs off, but that's what you want.
Axe is going for the Crimson Guard. They have to get more physical damage mitigation. Even like a Vlad's or a Aquila, Ring of Basilius, anything like that would help their team at this point.
Still no mech. They're just entirely skipping it this game.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't even know if you go for it.
Armor's armor. It's good.
Yeah. Vlad's, I mean, the issue with the Vlads is like it's not particularly useful. They don't really right-click. They don't have lifesteal. It's only for the armor.
Even just 500 gold for a Ring of Basilius is still like 8% mitigation for all your heroes. It's better than
They definitely
nothing.
need some damage mitigation. It's just at this point it may be too late. The Axe Crimson Guard finally complete. But Cloud9 are just spreading the map now. They leave Mag Park behind Fada. Fada pushes in the top lane. And there's 3 heroes walking towards mid for Tinker. They just don't really know where to go. They'd love to jump on Pylai Dai mid, but again, it's just the Venge anyway.
Their T3 is getting smacked by Fada on top. He's focus firing right now. It's at 3/4 HP and still no response. What are they doing?
This is without the Drow Aura. And now he 4 steps back to safety. They stampede, looking for Fada, but there's a coil ready for Mag. He'll get off the silence. Then he orbs into the tree line, giving Fada time to retreat, then hits the 3-hero coil as he jaunts out. Mag, great play on this off lane. Continues to just make it easy for Cloud9. Look at the damage they did to that tower. That was without Drow using her aura. Just with the right clicks from the Wind Ranger and Focus Fire.
Tinker just spread thin at this point. Maybe trying to 5-man mid, but their top tower is going to fall soon.
Frustration has to be setting in, if it hasn't already.
I think at this point they just have to either hope C9 are in a really bad position at Roshan or get a gem and D-ward and then go for really quick ganks with Centaur, Stomp plus Relocate. And that's about the only 2 realistic ways for them to get back in the game.
There's a Shackle that finds Koik for top. He doesn't have a Stampede, doesn't have a 4-step, but a Power Shot might be able to clip him. Jukes to the south, will survive barely. But when Wind Ranger can just go on your Centaur like that, who you prioritize for early farm, that's a problem.
Yeah. It is.
Almost killed him solo.
Uh-oh. Fada.
He's playing so aggressively.
Yeah, with Relocate on cooldown, he still should be okay for another 10 seconds time.
And it's where, like, even if he does die, that's fine for their draft. They could give up those kills at this stage. Because the other heroes just get room to split push. They use Relocate, then you know you can go in bottom lane or mid.
Net worth E is just getting out of control here. Number 1 at 11,000. Number 1 on Team Tinker, 8,400 on the Axe with his, as you said, recently acquired Crimson Guard. I think that could actually be a pretty big fight changer for them. At the same time, I think it's a little too late for it to make a huge impact, but it'll be mild impact.
We'll see. They would love to be fighting with it now. We've still yet to really see any involvement from Sing Sing either. 24 minutes in, 0, 2, and 3. Most of those deaths just ganks. I feel like he's been in like 1 team fight. At 24 minutes, you'd like to have more involvement.
He's supposed to be your front line, your scary hero that just slows everyone that tries to come up.
They do find Eternal Envy. He whiffed on the silence because Koik for 4-step past it. Now the swap, or sorry, not the swap, the jump in. And Tinker will finish the job. So they get the big kill there on the Drow Ranger. Still the rest of Cloud9 are able to push in the mid lane, are able to push in bottom. But if you're Tinker, if you can kill 1 hero, It's got to be Drow at the top of that list. Nice pick off for them.
That's their first kill in like 10 minutes.
Look at that graph. Just the one red dot on the tower destroyed by the Dire, and it doesn't actually show the kill dot yet, but it will come up soon enough, I imagine.
And Cloud9 have very good vision around the map too. Extremely good.
This is a byproduct of running the Drow Visage, right? Like you push in all the lanes, then it's very easy for your supports to walk around wherever they want in Ward.
Drow Ranger almost has completed Scotty too, and bought the ultimate orbs before she died. And at this point, yeah, I mean, she's going to have like over 2,000 HP.
Let's see, how close is AUI 2000 to, well, not very close at all to the Ags, but still can buy his point booster. And they have completed their Aghanim Scepter on Fada. He'll finish purchasing the components now. Let's see what he does with that.
I guess one thing that can actually turn it for them too is Bulba's Ag upgrade, but they have many ways to stop it right now. 3 ways from Puck, 2 ways from Visage, Windrunner. I mean, he can also just Windrun it. I mean,
Silence, Swap, Stun, Coil, Silence,
Yules.
Visage Familiars, Yules, and Shackle Shot. That's like, it's going to be really hard for Bulba to get that off. Maybe if he can like get relocated onto high ground, perhaps, but EGM caught up by a Shackle will drop almost instantly here to Cloud9. Those aggressive wards paying off, and now Sing Sing next on the list. He dies again to his former comrades. Cloud9 continuing to just pressure and punish Tinker. They surge forward. The axe will blink out. Mag in position with a coil ready. He can jump this.
he should. I don't know why he didn't. He could have blinked.
A little bit hesitant to take that fight.
He could have even used and get a kill there, but at the same time, these wards just have vision of Team Tinker or whatever. They try and make a move towards Roshan, and with this with the Scotty on Drow Ranger, this is the end.
Roshan will fall. That will pretty much be the I have Scotty for Eternal Envy, dropping a Wraith Band so he can pick it up. Your Aghanim Scepter now complete on Fana. He's almost got the level 3 ult, at which point 0% damage reduction. So he'll be attacking at lightning speed with the Drow Ranger aura and good base damage. He hits for plus 123, and that is without, well actually no, he had the precision aura because he was next to the Drow. Yeah, that's a lot. He might be their hardest hitter at this point.
Koikfa.
They do spot Fada though. Koikfa walking on him, gets off the stomp, but Fada still managed to win run, so the auto attacks won't matter here. He forced us back, he throws a Shackle, almost connecting on Pycat. TP will get canceled by the backup from Cloud9. But with the Aegis now, it honestly feels like Cloud9 might be able to just deathball Tinker. I don't know if they need to split push anymore.
They don't have to, but they certainly can.
And they certainly like to.
Yeah,
they may secure a bigger lead. Maybe they look to make this like a 10, 20k gold lead before they break the base.
They need a gem, too. If Cloud9 want to farm, they should just get a gem, so Tinker can't pick them off with Centaur plus relocate. And then at that point, Tinker just no options. They missed the Roshan opportunity. Not that there really was one for them. They got a kill on Drow Ranger, but that's the only thing that's gone their way in the last 15 minutes time. And maybe an uphill push for them might be it. But I mean, 5 range heroes just makes positioning supremely easy.
Oh, there's your blink Yules for Magmid. Then he can follow it up with a coil. Sing Sing, no BKB. He could TP out this second, but he's worried about the backup that's coming in, looking for a Shackle. They won't find it yet. Just a power shot to start. Pi in range for a swap. He might have to swap himself out if he wants to live. He goes in. He's going to take one for the team. A great 2-hero Shackle from Fada. He bided his time, and he found the opening, but Koikfa turns it with a nice 2-hero stomp. They're onto Eternal Envy, so his damage is reduced, and that Crimson Guard, along with the heal of the Witch Doctor, is paying off in a big way. Tinker finally getting an opening. It took a great Centaur stomp to start. The Crimson Guard will wear off. Eternal Envy with the silence, but AUI trapped on the high ground, dunked by Pycat. At long last, Tinker find a win here.
And Axe is actually itemizing right. He has 25 armor with the plate mail, and they actually try to focus him down with the Berserker's Call, but he's sitting at, what, like 60-something armor with that? 65 armor with Crimson Guard? And if they don't focus him, I think they can actually wipe Tinker at that point, but they spent too much time trying to focus the Axe during Berserker's Call, and it was actually smart of Pycat to use Berserker's Call without even catching anyone.
Because for the armor.
Yeah, he really needed it.
Yeah, he's probably the last hero you want to focus with all that armor. Unless you could just chain stun him before he pops the Crimson Guard and burst him down at the beginning of the fight. The other thing was that they got a great 2-hero stomp follow-up from Koikfa. We didn't see many of these in his earlier Centaur performance yesterday, but a couple more like that, and it does go back to what we discussed in the draft, where Centaur on paper is one of the very best heroes in the game to deal with the Drow Ranger.
So now, something clicked for Tinker. They're like, hey, let's get armor. What a concept versus Drought Visage. Centaur picks up a plate mail, going for the Shiva's Guard, almost has that completed. Sing Sing picks up a chain mail and a plate mail. Not sure what he's going to build with that because Axe also has a plate mail. And usually you have, what, 2 plate mails? One for Shivas, one for AC. Not sure where the third one's going, but it's certainly better than not getting armor.
Well, in the meantime, Cloud9 still trying to push their advantage here, and they still do have the Aegis on Eternal Envy. They'll reset and look for a better engagement this time around. Tinker, not walking very quickly to defend this tower. They leave Koikfa in the bottom lane, and they will sack the tier 2 mid. They want to take a fight inside the base. But Eternal Envy continues to push through.
Oh, Witchhawker has his Dags. This could be big, especially in the uphill defense. They might be pushing uphill prematurely.
Let's see. There's still a tier 2 bottom they could claim if they want to play it safe. Eternal Envy fairly durable in his own right. With that 23 armor,
they only have 1 minute on Aegis. They need to go now if they want to use the Aegis.
Fada is just laying into this tower. And no commitment yet from Tinker. That's about half the tower's health and then a little bit more gone.
Uh-oh, they have a Sentry Ward in mid. They might actually spot out Koikfa.
Yeah, Koikfa could get caught here.
Still, all they need to do is hold out for 1 more minute, and they can relinquish the Aegis. But I don't know if Cloud9's going to let them do that. They want to go uphill?
Glyph is ready. This will allow Tinker to hold a bit longer. Relocate also ready if needed. And they'll throw out a silence just to discourage Sing Sing from jumping in, but Pycat thinks about it. Casca's there. Still not finishing the tower, though, or back on Mag. They haven't fully jumped in. This Invis rune for Koikfa going to wear off soon. No gem, though. He might find a retreating hero. Oh, I'll get the courier. 2 swipes, down it goes. The Centaur finishes off that fuzzy creature. Then grabs a bounty rune and TP's out. In the end, the tower denied top lane. Pylite die will limit the income here of Tinker, but still EGM getting the 2nd tower of the game for Tinker. Even if it is a deny, it's a little bit of gold nonetheless. And
a double Shiva's Guard coming out from Team Tinker at this point too. Axe will have his completed, as well as Centaur. So there you go. 15 armor for those two fellas.
They're really beefing up. That fight basically gave them those double Shiva's Guard. Without that, that would have been at least 3-4 minutes off.
And Sing Sing almost has his AC too. Just about 1,000 more gold. So now they're shaping up to contest Roshan number 2. And what is their late game potential though? Viper is mediocre, I'd say. Centaur is mediocre. X is also mediocre. None of them really are outstanding in the late game damage dealing aspect.
They may hit a timing here though, right? Where they're just too tanky. And this Drow Ranger has a Sanjin Yasa and an Eye of Scotty. And if you get on top of her, she basically has no damage.
Look, she has 300 damage if you don't.
Yeah. But they were able to in the last fight. I guess whether or not they do it again is an open question.
It's all about Pylite Eye too with the swaps.
Yeah. Last time he did get caught out pretty early.
And Fada with his shackles. If he hits a big shackle, it's huge.
He hit a pretty big one that game. I feel like it was just too late at that point. Their Venge was already in a compromised position.
It was on the called Axe.
Yeah. And the Axe was very, very hard to bring down. So Tinker still, end of the day, are playing somewhat conservatively, leaving most of their heroes just parked in the base mid lane. Roche will respawn in potentially 2 minutes, at most 5. Cloud9's momentum is halted.
Yeah, still I think they have superb late game. Vengeful Spirit, actually probably one of the better supports for late game, but on the flip side, you have Tinker, who has Witch Doctor. The GG Death Ward is incredible if left unchecked. If
Bulba actually manages to farm a BKB, there's only one thing to stop that ult, and that's Swap. And you really don't want to be using Swap. I feel like you can't afford to use it like that.
They can just right-click him, too.
If they can tank the Death Ward.
Yeah, he only has 9 armor. Well, Visage Familiars can once Aoi gets Scepter, which he will pretty soon. On the same time, Tinker can actually get Ghost Scepters. Ghost Scepters makes him nigh invulnerable. Just some damage from Visage, Puck, and some stray power shot damage from Wind Ranger, but that's actually not that much. I think it would be a pretty good item for them.
Something to keep in mind for sure. For now, they have the gold for it on Koikfa. And Tinker try to slow this one down along with Cloud9. Neither team looking for that next fight yet. Guessing the Roshan will be the point of contest, and that's where we'll see if Tinker can get the jump.
Cloud9 can take it down in less than like 7 seconds time, though.
Yeah, Focus Fire, Familiars, EE's damage.
Medallion, and Howl. Howl is max from Ventral. He's going to 2-4-4 build.
They're going to take a smoke now. Radiant Curve will respawn.
No, Koikfa's dead.
And they find one in the river. The Centaur caught up by the Yules. He now will be silent. Shackle Shot won't latch. Brought back by the Wisp. They wasted a coil for this. but there's not enough other heroes in the neighborhood. If they come in and try to fight, it's with 3 at most.
EGM has a
They're bringing in their axe like they want to engage, or maybe just tethering up to the high ground. No, they're going in. They jump the Centaur as well, trying to bring down Mag. They lose the Wisp immediately. Double hero silence. Swap out from Pylai. Bulba slowly strutting in, but they're not dealing with the Eternal Envy very quickly. It's up to the Death Ward perhaps to save them, but Bulba was thrown up in the air by a Yules, so he didn't get off a long duration one. Quakefoot trapped on the high ground. This fight going south quickly for Tinker. Now they got to scatter. And Cloud9 find a big opening. Roshan didn't catch the time there. Respawning very quickly. This is like an 8-minute Rosh. Couldn't be a better timing for them. But do they go for that Rosh or do they hunt for Bulba? They could orb and try to Yules him, but instead they rotate towards mid. Let's see if they scout Rosh or just try to break the base. Buyback situation on the Dire. They have it on the Centaur. They don't have it on the Wisp, but she'll be up anyway. So they'll have 5 for the high ground. And there's no Venge here. This could be a mistake for Cloud9 to force it. At the same time, no Stampede and no Death Ward.
Well, this tower is just dead. It's way too low.
It's a glyph, but Familiars will finish it.
And a couple things went well for C9 that fight. They had vision with that high ground ward.
Uh-oh, hold that thought. Blinking from Pycat. Finds 2 with the Berserker's Call. Eternal Envy. Trapped out. Gets dunked. That's chop number 1. It could be a double chop here. Pycat, there you go. Jams it in.
Dunk the Familiars.
No Familiar dunks yet. Just chasing for hero kills. They relocate on top of AUI 2000. And, well, they can finish him off too. That's 4 heroes dead for Cloud9. And they massively fall behind from that.
Well, EE did not build a Blink or a BKB and just purely relying on Pylai. As you said, without that swap, he is just absolute food.
I'm a little surprised they tried to force that. They could have scouted Roshan and had the potential to respawn, but maybe they feel like they don't have this late game, and they just wanted to try and end it there.
I think they do, though. I mean, just judging from what I've seen, they should.
They found Pylai with the Shivas, but they don't really want to chase that far.
And yeah, I mean, they could have just sent Familiars to the tower, and then it would have died, and then they could have just backed off, done Roshan, or at least threatened Roshan, and Tinker doesn't really have a good lineup to do Roshan swiftly, and just play it from there. But Pylai is actually very, very important, and as a Vengeful Spirit, maybe too important.
That's the thing, is like they don't have that other hero that can protect the bench, right? They don't have a Tidehunter, they don't have a Centaur, so it's all on this very squishy underfarm support Venge to bail out the Drow.
Well, it's just finally they itemized armor and physical mitigation. Axe also has a Heaven's Halberd too, so he's sitting at 32 base armor, or 32 armor without Berserker Skull, and that's an incredible amount of mitigation.
Yeah, with that he's what, 70 armor? He's basically invulnerable at that point. It's got to be like 80, 90+%. And there's only the minus armor of a Wave of Terror now, which is maxed. Pylai did go for the more physical DPS-oriented build. Yeah, and the other thing, Ben, is they still don't have an Aghanim Scepter in AUI 2000 at 37 minutes. I've seen this guy get one at like 15 to 17. He went for the early Vitality booster over a point booster, then he went Rod of Atos. And I feel like he's been very quiet compared to what you normally see when they run the Drow Visage. Too quiet.
And Sing Sing's finally doing a lot of stuff in team fights. With his Ags, with his AC, he can actually stand up in front, tank, just constantly shoot out Viper Strikes at Drow Ranger. Do good damage.
He's closing on Butterfly territory now. Gets the evasion. Evasion, you mentioned Ghost Scepters. Evasion is another great tool against Cloud9. Familiars can't build an MKB. The Drow Ranger's not building one. And realistically, these other heroes never will. Maybe the Wind Ranger is a later game item. So Evasion could be a huge pickup. They're also not close to Hex. Well, they are close to a Hex on Mag, but it's only the one.
C9 also need an AC of their own to counter TT's AC.
And it's Tinker who walked into the Rosh Pit. This will be slower work for them. They have the AC, so not too terribly slow.
They know, though, EGM revealed the smoke. The Ward will scout him out. I don't know if that was the right idea. Like, they were smoked outside. If he doesn't go in, then they don't see him. But now Pylai will scout out. I guess they're not even in a position to do so.
Fada doesn't. His TP cooldown's currently going, and now they spot out Pylai. He tries to draw Tinker out, probably knowing he's going to go down for this, but just hoping to delay the Roshan. Still, they're not bringing in Fada. He gets dunked. That was an easy, well, more of a layup, really, from Pycat.
Okay, well, now Aegis on side of... That's really bad news for Drow Ranger. It's all on Pylai. They can't take a fight now because Pylai is down, as well as EE's buyback. So Tinker can do some devastating damage with this Aegis.
I thought they were just like buying time with the Venge so that they could do something, but they didn't do anything there. Just farm top, completed the Butterfly. Well, just gives them an extra kill.
I didn't really have high hopes for Tinker's lineup late, but After seeing how much they can tank it up with the Vanguard, or sorry, Crimson Guard, it's surprising that that Cloud9 can't do any damage to them, or not enough rather.
Yeah, and they haven't really built much magic damage, so if they can't do it with physical, they got nothing. Drow Ranger won't give you any. Your Puck hasn't built that Dagon. No Ethereal Blades coming for this team. Soul Assumption only offers you so much when heroes are sitting on 2,300 health for the Axe, 2,400 for the Centaur, and only 1,800 for Sing Sing, but you got to know after this Butterfly, like something that gives them more HP will be coming next.
Now they're itemizing minus armor, though, with Wind Ranger getting the Desolator, too, and hopefully an AC pickup on Visage next. So they're doing okay.
Eternal Enemy has his Butterfly. If he can somehow avoid getting caught.
Look at his damage, like almost 400.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to get caught.
Even Vengeful Spirit's hitting for 200.
You're up against Stampede, man. I feel like Stampede just is so damn good against the Drow.
Well, Axe is also really good, too. If they get a BKB, Pycat just goes on to you regardless and doesn't care about BKB at all.
Yeah, you have the Eye of Scotty slow, but still, he's going to be Stampeded half the time at the start of the fights.
So what is the key for C9 winning this game at this point? Well, take better fights, protect EE, don't die out with Vengeful Spirit, itemize minus armor, focus targets that don't have high armor, like Witch Doctor is a prime candidate. And they can't really kite, actually, due to the Stampede.
And we haven't seen them rat, you know? That's normally what we see with their Drow Visage if they're losing. AUI just constantly taking buildings with familiars and the Drow aura being activated.
It's just the blink stomp into relocate is almost impossible to stop. I guess Mag is probably the best one to do it, but Puck's not that great of a split pusher. And no one else has any mobility. No one else
they didn't build the Blink Dagger on Eternal Envy, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So he can't do it.
I mean,
and he doesn't have a BKB.
Yeah, even if he gets a Blink, he just Blink Stampedes on him and he'll still die. So I don't even think Blink would have been the right itemization for that. I think, I mean, all in all, I think C9 itemized pretty well. Not really, maybe like not the Yules for Puck, but other than, I mean, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because Puck's not going to be your heavy item wielder.
Pycat now defending the bottom lane. Familiar's going to scout him out. And he'll blink like 2 inches to the left, missing them. Now they come in and we'll stomp the wave just to slow this down.
If he gets a Scepter, he can just cull those things all day.
Chop, chop, chop.
Yeah, easy 100 gold. Colt. Oh.
He can, no, resummon. He finally has his 3 birds with Ags online, 42 minutes in. I'm guessing the average time for him has to be like around 20 to 25.
Yeah, he had a really good start. And I was talking about Team Tinker's limited carry potential earlier, but at the same time, they had to deal with like a Wind Ranger, who's just not that good at carrying either. Visage is pretty good, but it seems like the Familiars just get destroyed by Pycat, and Drow Ranger, who's all the focus for Team Tinker, and just can't really maneuver around in team fights like he wants to.
It's an interesting just clash in styles. The beef tanks who want to get in close, and the gap closers, if you will, and then you've got the evasive range DPSers.
Cannons.
Yeah, the glass cannons. It's the gap closers versus the glass cannons, and so far the glass cannons seem to be slipping. They're now down on gold, and experience beginning to go heavily for Tinker too.
They still don't have that much damage though. Like Viper's hitting for like 137 at this point. Axe, majority of his damage is still probably from spins.
Don't forget that return damage from Quakefoot.
Yeah, he has a heart.
He's got a heart now.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, return does own pretty good, especially without any lifesteal on Drow Ranger.
Well, Pycat pushes in bottom lane. Tinker not showing their full team here. They've got a Wisp smoked up behind him. He will clear the wave. He's got 5.4k gold in the bank, and Cloud9 think that there's more heroes top, or just don't think they can take or bottom rather, or just don't think they can take a fight. So they let the tower fall. A freebie for Tinker. They are firmly on the back foot now after a great start with one of their signature strats.
I feel like Cloud9 should probably ban out Wisp just because their strength is split pushing, and they just seem really reluctant to split push. I don't know if it's the relocate threat, but if they think it is, they should probably just ban it out because they are not utilizing the strengths of what I usually see them do.
Yeah, something they can think about for their next matches. But for the time being, they're stuck with what they got.
Wow, Vengeful Spirit going for a Vanguard. Probably in a Crimson Guard,
yeah.
But what does Crimson Guard really do for them?
It's just some cost-effective HP. That's Pylite Die at this point.
I suppose so, but he could also get like a mech even. I think mech's still pretty good. Gives you a decent amount of armor for you and your team. What else would be good for them? A blink dagger maybe, so he can swap and then blink out.
Force Staff's always good.
Yeah. Force Staff's not particularly good in this game too, because Drow Ranger's always facing them. With Berserker's Call, you're going to be facing the axe, and you don't want to Force Staff him in. So surprisingly, it's not that great of a solution for them.
Familiars will try to push in the top lane, and they have managed to get the lanes going back their way. Cloud9 at 45 minutes. How long has it been since we've seen a kill this game?
Oh man, Pykat's going for, I think, a Mjolnir too with this Hyperstone. That's going to be devastating.
They're going to stampede, and they jump in. With the Shiva's Guard, Fada will TP out immediately. They relocate, but they get off the call. That goes through Magic Community. Prepare to be chopped, my friend. Dunked by Pycat again. They can't BKB TP out. That just doesn't work against this Axe. One of the nice assets he brings to the table late game. And now he picks up a Maelstrom, going towards that Mjolnir.
Yeah, the Mjolnir
some deeps.
Is going to devastate them.
And he's just going to be so durable with this. Oh, and they go in again. This time it's on to Maggie Facius, but Battle Hunger will tick him down, even if the orbs don't. Trying to retreat out, but doesn't make it out in the end.
Okay, and that's cue to go high ground with 2 heroes dead on Cloud9. Maybe they thought they could split push, but Tinker's mobility, a little bit too much for them.
Buyback situation, 2 for each team. The Centaur and the Axe have it. The big Bruisers in the front line for them. The Drow Ranger, the lone here with buyback from Cloud9. And they will push through. Take the tier 2 mid. Tinker looking to make this a 2-1 group stage for them. And with that, most likely will finish in the winner's bracket. Or start their day, I should say, in the winner's bracket. Pycat bringing down the tower with Quake by the side. And now they work on the melee rack. Still Cloud9 not mounting their defense. Not mustering really anything at all. They'll give up a melee rack. They sack a ranged. They're not trading here, just familiar split pushing. And Tinker aren't stopping. They go straight on the bottom lane. Quickfoot takes a solitary arrow. It barely tickles him. Whoops. They're just going to back off, clear out the wave, and they'll go through bottom again. These familiars will break the high ground.
Everyone has a bajillion armor.
Ready, though. No, they're going to back off. They're happy with the free lane of racks. They don't want to be trading against the Drow Visage.
Viper, 25 armor. Pycat, 44 armor. Centaur sitting around 42.
They just relocate gank the familiars. And he's forced to resummon them after 1 Berserker's Call. That is a pretty potent tool against the familiars late game.
Yeah.
Seems Tinker have really done their research with this Axe pick.
Really underestimated that Berserker's Call and spin.
Yeah, and at this point he's got so much more mobility. With the Wisp having the maxed out tether, and not to mention just the Blink Dagger having been picked up.
He's 6-slotted.
Yeah. Casual Shivas from Koikfa. Celebratory, perhaps.
So not too early, only 7,500 gold leaf for them, and if C9 wins 1 fight, they have so much physical damage for towers. And I mean, Tinker right now too, all they need to do is just put Centaur on the front line and just have him tank towers with a turn. He does a ton of damage.
Eternal Envy, you can't afford to get caught right now. Neither can Fada. They stampede, they blink in, they found Eternal Envy, even though Death Ward used. Kill secured, another dunk for Pycat.
He doesn't have buyback.
10 and 4. What did he buy? He had it before.
BKB.
Oh, he bought the BKB.
BKB doesn't really do that much, unfortunately. Viper Strike still owns them, Return still owns them, Death Ward owns them, and most importantly, the big bad axe.
And they have BOTs on the axe now, so he could be Boots of Travel into the fight after going back to defend. They can relocate him, or the other way around. They can defend and they could take fights now on Tinker. And this axe alone can handle the entire familiar army. Cloud9 seem to be cornered.
Yeah, I mean...
Have they finally figured out a solution to the Drow Visage strat? 78% win rate for Cloud9 coming into this with these 3 heroes. The Drow, the Venge, and the Visage.
I still think like the Viper, or sorry, the Centaur ban would have been really important for them, as you mentioned over and over again in the draft, and it's proved to be a constant thorn in their side.
Well, Tinker now walk confidently in that Roche pit. They're not the fastest to Roche lineup, but hey, there's no Drow and there's no buyback. You can take all day if you want. Tether slow will really prevent him from doing much of anything. And now Pykai comes in. He starts chopping wood, or chopping rocks. He's mining this Roshan. And they'll finish him off quickly. Aegis and Cheese can be claimed from this. Aegis goes the way of the Viper. The Cheese onto Koikfa. Still, base not being breached. And Tinker, they'll be looking for their second lane of racks. So with that, probably the game very, very soon. Invis on Pycat, they walk Up the ramp, rotating through, still trying to find those pickoffs. There was a Radiant Ward, I believe, that spotted this, but whether or not they know exactly where it's coming is another question. They have eyes on 3. Cloud9 beginning to retreat at just the right moment to dodge this.
So
but they won't be able to dodge for much longer.
Yeah, Viper has Aegis, Centaur has Cheese, Axe has a buyback plus BOTs. Still not really looking like they want to go in. They should know that EE's very scant on gold because of his recent BKB acquisition.
He only has 470. They also saw he didn't buy back last time, so.
Well, he didn't need to. They weren't anywhere close.
They should pretty much know. They'll push in the top lane. And even if he had buyback, I don't know if that makes a difference. He's not even tickling these heroes anymore.
They cannot take a Roach fight. They need wide open areas to fight in. Ideally, it's the high ground defense. This T2, there's no way they should defend that. It's a terrible, terrible positioning. Almost fighting downhill into a choke point. That's where TT shines.
And normally in this situation, that's where like, okay, let's get bottom racks instead. You know, let's go for a trade. But there's a tier 2 standing there. And Tinker can stop that anyway with the Axe BOTs and the relocate. So they keep on forcing their way in. They're going to break down the front door of the top lane. They've already kicked in the side door, and now they look for the GG. Tinker, can they take a second lane of Rex? They get an Axe Snook out just to harass Eternal Envy a bit. Koikfa soaking up a lot of frontline damage. He's allowing Return to work against this tower, and now they've gotten onto Eternal Envy with the Viper Strike. They go in closer with the Shiva's Guard. He BKBs to dodge a stun. Very nicely played, but now it's Mag who's going to take the pounding. Turning onto Sing Sing. Crimson Guard will wear off fairly soon. Doesn't seem to matter. Pycat got the 2-hero call to start it, and now Eternal Envy zoned off that Death Ward. Look at it go, man, says Boba. 2, 3 heroes dead. Double buyback for Cloud9. To no avail, it seems. Everyone on Tinker still healthy, still breathing. Pycat, or Sing Sing rather, still has Aegis, and Koikfa still has Cheese, and they're still diving. Tinker getting herded right back to the well, looking to make it a 2-1 group stage. After a shaky start on day 1, they've bounced back big time. They bounced back within this game. Maybe they've dove in a bit too far though. Nope, scratch that thought. Berserker's call, a chop to secure another kill, going for the well dive, and the GG is called. Pycat is sitting in the well, tanking it, and not even losing HP. Another chop attempted. It's a team wipe in the Cloud9 base, and it's all over.
Wow. As well as that was going for Cloud9, it was just that one mid-fight where Mag used a lot of cooldowns on Viper, and then they focused the Viper and the Axe, and then they just got trounced there. And after that, they pushed up without Pilot Eye. That was also, I mean, it was just those 2 teamfight mistakes, I think, simply just pushed C9 over the edge.
I guess the thing that kind of surprised me was I thought they could afford to make 1 or 2 of those mistakes and still win. I think we both underestimated how strong the late game of Tinker actually was against this draft.
Well, I also thought they were going to continue to build terrible items.
Yeah.
To be fair. But,
well,
okay.
They stopped. They got the Crimson Guard, they got the double Shivas, the Assault Kuras, the Vlads. At the end of that game, like every single hero had like 40 to 80 armor.
Ghost Scepter and BKB.
Yeah.
It's just well played.
They had their solutions, guys. With that said, that wraps up our first match here. Day number 2 of Starladder Season 10 in the books for this first game. And, well, the story here is Tinker. They're 2-1 now. Their group stage ends, unless there's tiebreakers. Cloud9 starting off a little bit slow with the stand-in for Mag. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll break down this match. We'll look forward to our second of 3 Cloud9 BO1s coming up in a row. We'll be back.
esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone. We have over 200,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.